Shalom, shalom. This video is about the Gospel of John chapter 12 verses 17 to 22, and it's about Jews from Greece's prayer to see YESHUA. And I'll read the text as always. So the crowd which had been with YESHUA when he called Lazarus out of the tomb and raised him from the dead kept on telling everybody about it. It was also for this reason that the crowd came out to meet him, because they heard that he had performed this sign. So the Pharisees said to each other, "See that you can't do anything. Look, the whole world has taken off after him." Now there were some Greeks, and in my opinion Jews from Greece, among those who were going up to worship at the feast. These came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida in the Galilee. "Sir," they said, "we want to see YESHUA." Philip came and told Andrew. Andrew and Philip then came and told YESHUA. YESHUA answered them, saying, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Amen, amen, I tell you, unless a grain of wheat falls to the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. He who loves his life will lose it, and the one who hates his life in this world will keep it forever. If any man serves me, he must follow me, and where I am, there also will my servant be. If anyone serves me, the Father will honor him. Now my soul is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour." But that was the very reason why I came to this hour. So instead, YESHUA said, "Father, glorify your name." Then a voice came out of heaven, "I've glorified it, and again I will glorify it." So the Jews from Greece who made their pilgrimage Aliyah to Jerusalem for Pesach, the Passover, lodged their request to see, in other words, to meet YESHUA, and they lodged their request to Philip. By the way, some Bible commentators are of the opinion that these were true Greeks and not Greco-Jews, but I disagree on the count that it was Jews in diaspora in Greece who made Aliyah for the Muat of Pesach, Passover. Why did they approach Philip? Because he was from Bethsaida, or Bethsaida if you like, the house of fish, or fishing, or fishermen by implication. That's the one meaning of the name. But Bethsaida or Bethsaida also means the house of hunting or the house of hunters. Therefore, Bethsaida immediately reminds us and links us to Jeremiah 16 verse 16, which reads, "Behold, I will send for many fishermen, says Adonai, and they shall fish them, and afterwards I will send many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and every hill and out of the holes on the rocks." So Jeremiah 16:16 is usually understood to mean that the Jews will return to the promised land when they are lured to make Aliyah, lured from the Gentile nations, for positive reasons, in other words. And then those Jews who did not answer the call will be hunted through anti-Semitic haters, through oppression, the enemies of Adonai and the Jews, and they will flee persecution and make Aliyah to escape from their enemies who hunts them down. However, the context of Jeremiah 16:16 is quite the opposite, I think. There will be, and this already happened, so we have to read that there was mass alienation of Jews from the promised land by the Romans in the year 135 AD, after the Bar Kokhba revolt. So much so that Jewish slaves obtained rock-bottom prices on the slave markets of the time, as the Roman fishing nets almost emptied the land of Jews. And after the Romans, Arab hunters tracked the few destitute Jews who remained behind as they hunted and murdered them to near extinction in the Holy Land. Furthermore, the hunters also referred to the many pogroms and Holocaust and expulsions that the Jews faced through the past 2,000 years at the hand of Christians, so-called Christians, each time with a list of names of known Jews. And in this they were just like Haman did in the book of Esther. And so did many European kings and English kings and Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler. All of them compiled lists of Jews and then persecuted them, fulfilling Jeremiah 16:16. Bethsaida is on the northern shores of the Galilee and connected to the Decapolis, the 10 cities in that region east of the Galilee, of which most was Syrophoenician Greeks. To them, Philip, Andrew and Peter would have been familiar from the local people back home and therefore easy to approach with their request to meet Yeshua. The witnesses of Lazarus' resurrection testified, and their testimonies brought many people to believe. And, we are challenged to do the same. Philip led people to Yeshua, as a disciple must do. And we also read about Philip's encounter with the Ethiopian in the book of Acts, chapter 8, verse 2 to 40. Bringing people to faith happens on a personal level, one-on-one. We are called to share our faith and explain the scriptures to the people we are called to, just like Philip did. He was an excellent disciple, connecting people to Yeshua in person and in the scriptures as well. He think of the Ethiopian. He connected him to Yeshua in the scriptures. When Philip and Andrew relayed the request from these Jews in the diaspora in Greece, or from the Decapolis, as the case may be, Yeshua responded with a strange answer and a prayer of his own. But we'll consider his answer and prayer in the next video. I bid you, Shalom, Shalom.